4 children for sale, the tragic story behind the photo. Of 4 children who had to be sold to escape poverty in the 1940s. How much self-esteem would you have if you were sold for $2? If you misbehaved as a child, your mother might have said she would sell you. But deep inside, you knew this wouldn't happen. However, not all children were as lucky as you. The above photo was taken in 1948 in Chicago, United States. It shows 4 siblings and their mother at the entrance to their house. In front of them is a gigantic sign saying, "4 children for sale, inquire within." Was this photo a joke, a fake, or real? How extreme poverty tore apart the Chalifoux family. As it happens, the photo was real, and the children were indeed on sale. Their parents, Ray, 40, and Lucille, 24, Chalifoux, were both unemployed and poverty-stricken. They were facing eviction from their apartment for not paying the rent. It's possible that the sign 4 children for sale was just a cry for help. Once the newspapers around the country published the story, help actually came in form of job offers, apartments, and money. Nobody really knows what happened in the following 2 years. However, in 1950, Father Ray left and the family fell apart. Mother Lucille began dating a man who didn't want to do anything with the children. Therefore, she gave them away. Lana was adopted. Rayanne and Milton were sold for $2, around $22 in today's value, and Sue Ellen was adopted. Bedford, who was still in his mother's womb at the time the photo had been taken in 1948, was adopted as well. Their mother Lucille later remarried and had 4 more daughters, but this time she kept them. She kept them, she didn't keep us. Bedford Chalifoux, about his mother. The cruel destiny of the abandoned children. The Chalifoux children ended up with foster families. They experienced different fates, ranging from intensive abuse to a childhood full of love. Some never forgave their mother, and some did. Let's have a closer look at what was life like for Rayanne, Milton, Sue Ellen, Bedford, and Lana. Rayanne, born in 1943. Rayanne was sold for $2, around $22 in today's value, to John and Ruth Zoterman. The couple had a farm in DeMott. Since her brother Milton cried while she was being taken away, the couple took him too. Her mother, Lucille, needed money for bingo and sold her. Rayanne Chalifoux was renamed Beverly Zoeterman. She and her brother were chained in a barn and had to work as slaves in the fields. The only time Rayanne got a hug from her foster father was when he was lying on his deathbed. In her late teens, Rayanne was kidnapped and raped. She was sent to a home for unwed mothers. After her return to DeMott, her baby was taken away and adopted. When she was 17, she left DeMott and created her own family. Rayanne tries hard to reconnect with all of her siblings. Her son describes her as a loving and compassionate person, despite her horrific childhood. Milton, born 1944. Milton joined his sister, Rayanne, on Zoeterman's farm in DeMott. On the very first day on the farm, his adoptive father beat him up and told him he would be a slave. Milton, being only 6 years old, didn't even know what the word slave meant. The first day set the example for the rest of his childhood. He was regularly beaten, tied up, and had to sleep in a barn. He used a knife to scare away the rats. Most of the time he survived only with some milk and peanut butter. Milton Chalifoux's name was changed to Kenneth Zoeterman. Milton got into a fight with a police officer and was placed in the mental hospital. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia and fits of rage. After his release in 1967, he moved to Chicago, got married, and moved to Tucson, Arizona. He met his mother Lucille in 1970, when he stayed with her new family for 1 month before being thrown out for getting into a fight with his mother's second husband. My birth mother, she never did love me. She didn't apologize for selling me. She hated me so much that she didn't care. Milton Chalifoux about his mother. Sue Ellen, born in 1946, Sue Ellen was adopted by a couple with the last name Johnson and was raised near her original home in Chicago's East Side. She died in July 2013 from lung disease. Shortly before death, she was reunited with her sister, Rayanne. She was happy to see her again. She needs to be in hell burning. Sue Ellen Chalifoux about her mother. Bedford, born in 1949. At the time the photo was taken, Bedford Chalifoux was still in her mother's womb. He was born on September 26, 1949. On July 16, 1950, he was adopted by Harry and Luella McDaniel, who couldn't have their own biological children. At the time of adoption, Bedford had bedbug bites all over his body. The couple enabled Bedford a good life, although strict. They gave him a new name, David. Since Bedford lived in Wheatfield, which is near De Motte, he sometimes visited Rayanne and Milton on the farm and made sure he unchained them. At 16, Bedford ran away and spent 20 years in the army. Among others, he served also in Vietnam War. He met his biological mother, Lucille, and she told him he looked just like his father. "We're all human beings, we all make mistakes." She could have been thinking about the children, didn't want them to die. Bedford Chalifoux about his mother. Born in 1942. Lana was adopted at the age of 8. She died of cancer in 1998. Can you imagine how it must have hurt to be sold for $2, to be left by your own mother? The Chalifoux children experienced a childhood that shouldn't forever remain a history. Unfortunately, history repeats itself.